The lights dimmed as Sam Heughan stepped onto the small stage. There was no music this time, no laughter, no red carpet fanfare, only silence. He stood there for a moment, taking a deep breath, the weight of what he was about to say heavy in the air. "This isn't easy for me," he began softly, his Scottish accent trembling ever so slightly. "But I owe it to you, all of you, to say it myself." A hush fell over the room. Even the cameras seemed to hesitate before recording. For years, fans had seen Sam as the embodiment of strength, the fearless Highland warrior, the charismatic gentleman, the man who could charm a crowd with a single smile. But tonight, none of that confidence was there. His voice cracked, his eyes glistened. It was clear. Whatever he was about to share, it came straight from the heart. Over the past few weeks, whispers had begun to circulate. Fans noticed something different. His smile seemed thinner, his interviews shorter. He'd been missing from events, canceling appearances, and posting only vague messages like, "taking time to breathe," and "some journeys are harder than others." Speculation ran wild. Was he sick? Was he retiring? Had something happened to Caitriona Balfe, his beloved co-star and longtime friend? No one knew. Until now. Sam looked down at the microphone in his hand, exhaled deeply, and said the words that froze the world. "I've made the decision to step away from Outlander." Gasps filled the room. You could hear a pin drop. Some reporters instinctively reached for their notebooks. Others just stared in disbelief. Sam paused, fighting to hold himself together. "This show has been my life for almost a decade," he said. "Jamie Fraser, he's a part of me. And saying goodbye to him, to this family, to all of you, it breaks my heart." He tried to smile, but the emotion overwhelmed him. His voice broke completely. "I've given everything I have to this story. Every ounce of love, every bit of energy. But lately, my body and my mind have been telling me it's time to rest. It's time to heal." A tear slid down his cheek as he continued. "There were days I'd push through exhaustion, through pain, because I didn't want to let anyone down. But I realized, if I keep going like this, I'll lose more than a character. I'll lose myself." The audience sat frozen. Even the photographers lowered their cameras. Sam wasn't reading from a script. He was speaking from somewhere raw and unguarded. He took a shaky breath and looked toward the audience with watery eyes. "I want you all to know this decision wasn't made lightly. I've thought about it for months. I talked with Caitriona, with the producers, with my family. And every time I hesitated, they reminded me that sometimes, love means knowing when to let go." For a long moment, he couldn't speak. His hand covered his face, his shoulders trembling. Then, quietly, he whispered, "I just never imagined this would hurt so much." A single sob escaped from somewhere in the audience. Others followed. Fans, journalists, everyone could feel it. This wasn't a press statement. It was a farewell. Trying to regain composure, Sam smiled faintly through the tears. "You've all given me so much," he said. "The love, the laughter, the messages, the kindness. You've been with me through every chapter of my career, and I'll carry that with me forever." He paused, looking down, his voice softening. "Jamie Fraser taught me what it means to fight for love, to endure pain, and to never stop believing in something bigger than yourself. And now, I think, it's my turn to do that in real life." The room remained completely silent, save for the quiet sniffles of those holding back tears. Finally, he ended with the words that would echo across the world. "This chapter of my life is ending," he said slowly, "but I'll carry your love with me forever." As he stepped off stage, the audience rose to their feet. The applause was thunderous, not for a celebrity, but for a man who had given a decade of his heart to a story and a fandom that loved him beyond words. Outside, news alerts began to appear instantly. Sam Heughan bids farewell to Outlander. Emotional goodbye leaves fans in tears. It's time to heal. Sam Heughan's heartfelt farewell to his most iconic role. Social media went into meltdown. Clips from the announcement spread within minutes, fans posting crying emojis, heartbreak gifs, and long messages of gratitude. The hashtag thank you Sam Heughan trended globally. I grew up with him as Jamie Fraser, one fan tweeted. This feels like losing family. Another wrote, he gave us everything. We'll never forget it. But while fans around the world were mourning his decision, one person in particular was holding back her own tears, Caitriona Balfe. Because for her, this wasn't just the end of an era. It was losing the partner who had stood by her side through every scene, every struggle, every moment that had made Outlander magic. And when she finally spoke about it, the world cried all over again. When Sam stepped off that stage, the world stood still, and so did Caitriona Balfe. She was backstage the entire time, watching the man who had been her on-screen partner, her confidant, and, in many ways, her second family for nearly a decade, pour his soul out to the world. She had known this day would come, but knowing didn't make it any easier. Minutes after the announcement, she posted a photo on Instagram, a candid shot of her and Sam from their very first Outlander table read in 2013. Her caption was simple. There are no words big enough. Just love, always. That post shattered hearts around the world. Fans flooded the comments. I'm crying again. This feels like losing Jamie and Claire all over. The way they love and respect each other is everything. By the end of the day, #thank you Sam Heughan had reached over 50 million mentions. Fans across continents were posting compilations, tributes, and goodbye messages, videos set to emotional music, showing Sam's journey from the first time he donned the kilt to the moment he said his final words as Jamie Fraser. Even the cast and crew of Outlander joined in. Executive producer Meryl Davis tweeted, "There would be no Outlander without Sam. His heart built this world." Richard Rankin wrote, "A brother for life. You're leaving big boots, mate." But the most emotional message came from Caitriona herself, later that night. In a live stream for fans, she appeared teary-eyed but composed. "I think we all knew how much this show meant to Sam," she said softly. "He gave everything, every ounce of himself, to it. Watching him say goodbye today, I don't think there was a dry eye anywhere, including mine." Her voice cracked. She smiled faintly and looked down. "I've said this to him privately, but I'll say it here too. Thank you, Sam. You changed my life. You made me brave. You made all of us better." She paused, visibly emotional. "It's not the end of our story. It's just a new beginning. But I'll miss hearing him say, Sassenach, more than anything." That single line, "I'll miss hearing him say, Sassenach," went viral within hours. Fans across the world began sharing it as a tribute quote, adding crying emojis and heart symbols. Meanwhile, Sam stayed quiet. For days, he disappeared from the spotlight, taking time for himself in the Scottish Highlands. Locals spotted him walking near the glens, alone but peaceful. He looked reflective, one local said, like a man finally exhaling after carrying the world on his shoulders. When he finally resurfaced, it wasn't on a red carpet or in an interview. It was through a handwritten letter he posted on social media, photographed against the background of a misty Highland sunrise. It read, "Dear friends, this journey has been the greatest gift of my life. Jamie Fraser taught me about courage, about love, and about resilience. He reminded me that even in pain, there is beauty, and in endings, there are beginnings. I've cried, I've laughed, and I've grown alongside all of you. Your support carried me through storms I never spoke of. You've been my family in ways I'll never be able to express. I'm not saying goodbye, just thank you. For everything. Love always. Sam." It was raw, it was poetic, it was him. Fans responded with floods of emotion. Some wrote long letters thanking him for helping them through grief, illness, or loneliness. Others posted photos of themselves wearing kilts or holding copies of Outlander books, captioned, "For Sam." Caitriona commented beneath his post with 4 simple words. "Forever proud of you." And for many fans, that was the moment they completely broke down. A week later, Sam appeared publicly for the first time since his announcement. It was at a charity event for children's health, something he'd supported quietly for years. When he walked onto the stage, the audience stood and cheered. Tears filled his eyes again as he whispered into the mic, "You're all going to make me cry again." He smiled through the emotion and said, "I didn't expect this reaction. I just did what felt right. I needed to take care of myself, to step back and breathe. But please know, I'm not disappearing. I'm just turning the page." The crowd erupted in applause. Someone shouted from the audience, "We love you, Sam." He laughed softly and replied, "I love you all more." After the event, Caitriona joined him on stage for one final photo together. She wrapped her arm around him, leaned her head on his shoulder, and whispered something only he could hear. He nodded, eyes misty again. The picture of that moment, the two of them standing close, smiling through tears, became one of the most shared images of the year. Entertainment Weekly called it the farewell that redefined Grace. Variety described it as a goodbye that felt more like a love letter than a loss. And perhaps that's exactly what it was. Because even as fans around the world cried watching their beloved Jamie Fraser step away, they also understood something deeper. Sam Heughan wasn't leaving them. He was teaching them. Teaching them about courage, honesty, and knowing when to listen to your heart. As one fan wrote perfectly in a viral tweet, "He made us believe in love, in hope, in strength. And even as he walks away, he's still giving us one last lesson, to let go with grace." And somewhere, under the fading Scottish sunset, Sam looked toward the horizon and smiled, not because it was the end, but because it was the beginning of a new story.